heard a comedian do a bit like that. Yep.
That changes.
Oh, yeah, we got to sign these now.
Right. Okay, I guess we'll bring this meeting to order. I can see Councilmember Watson and Councilmember here. On to reports and presentations, personnel update, Shawnee.
Yeah, so not much has changed since last time we met. Just a few updates. We have a finalist for our PC network specialist under Chuck.
Okay.
We're moving forward with him. Backgrounding happened today. He should be starting on August 1st, which is fantastic. The other updates are just minor. Permit technician, we're moving forward with full panel interviews next week. HR manager, we have a candidate we are interviewing for a second time this week, a smaller, more comfortable environment. So hopefully we'll find a winner there. And then the two other minor ones are we have an internal finalist for the maintenance worker 3 connection control specialist, and that will be starting July 16th. And we have found some more seasonal laborers. That's all the updates. We have the retirements that you already knew about that are occurring tomorrow. I'm sorry, the celebration's tomorrow.
Yeah, 3 to 4:30.
The 30th is the actual final day of employment. Yep, so I think they're really excited for that. That's all I have for you guys.
How many applicants?
There was.
I believe we received about 20.
Well, one person applied twice. I think there were 24 total, so 23 total applicants.
6 were chosen for interviews, and 1 is moving forward to the.
Oh, so just the one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Four of them dropped out before we
they
got to the interview.
Accepted positions elsewhere.
Quick question for John. We used to have council involved with those hires of department heads like that. Is she not?
That's not a department head. That's just a manager.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, certainly with a department head, like we were involved when Ryan got promoted.
Yeah, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To be part of that decision.
The chief, I think, was just kind of like a.
Not me.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Good job.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
On to business and action items, AB 2299, authorization of additional ARPA funds for public safety building generator.
Yes, Ryan had the engineer work up the cost for the generator, and it turns out it was more expensive than anticipated. Time since it was approved, I think it got approved in December. First of the year or something is when council approved it, and then they had the engineer's report, and it's gone up an additional $1,000. Total of 410. I know Ryan had him whittle it down, the contingency a little bit, and kind of fine tune it, but yeah, it's gone up. I think Jack could probably talk more to that piece of it.
Yeah, we just actually got done installing a generator lift station 17, which was actually been on 21. That was 104,000, just 68,000 for the generator itself. For this one, just the generator itself is 160,000, and we're finding that everything is 2 to 3 times as much cost estimates. So that's why you have a reflection here of $410,000. So what we did is, instead of having consultant design it, do construction management, we're going to do it all in-house, and that did dwindle it down to 410 as opposed to 500,000, which it originally was. So we are finding some ways to streamline it, but we definitely need more just to account for this market like it is right now.
One of the things I'm seeing in my business was the last 2 years, things have been way overpriced. They're starting to come back down. I don't want to prolong this, but is there a potential that once the supply chain realigns, that costs may come back down on this? Is it worth, potential in, 20, 30, no, yeah, but 100, 110, 120?
Great point, great timing too. I just attended a symposium this morning with our regional water network. A lot of the suppliers attend there, and they were telling us that they believe things will normalize more in 24, meaning the delays won't be there, but the actual cost won't necessarily go down yet. What's happening is a lot of these are actually pieced together, and you have to redo their contracts which everything is more expensive because of delays and supplies. A lot of it because of COVID, a lot of it is just they're trying to make up for a demand that actually occurred in 2018 when actually a lot of the housing loan interest rates went down. There was such a demand that it was actually 3 times more than expected. And so because of that, we got hit with that and then COVID on top of it. So the actual cost, I don't know if we could be confident enough to say that it would actually go down $100,000.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense that we might try to go for it this year, but I could see your point of waiting. I just don't know if 24 would be the time frame.
Yeah.
From everything I heard, it was about mid-24 is when they think it may normalize.
Well, and I can speak from experience with ours. We're not doing a 1-to-1 drop on price. You know, if the price drops 20%, our price drops, 8%, and we're trying to make up for our losses through there. So I mean, that tiered normalization is probably further away than even that, just because.
I have a question to take on what you're saying, because that was my thought too. We also have a problem with the chiller over it.
Hoping to have that for you tonight too.
Well, what do we do? That's more important to me at this point than to have a hot summer. I mean, how much are you looking for that, for a chiller for them?
Estimate that
Okay.
but the guy has not bid yet. Mike has been working the last week trying to get it to normalize it, to keep it working. So I'm hoping to have that bid and a request by the July 12th.
And money from ARP used for that?
That's what I was going to request. It's 30 years old, has a place.
We talked about before.
And they don't make the parts for it anymore. Yeah. I know Mike had to fashion a gasket the last time it went out, just MacGyvered it together. And it was 87 degrees in the day. And it was not a lot of fun to be in there. Reminded me when the fires were going through.
I would rather hold off on this and get that pushed through.
Well, it's going to be.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's the same money source, so.
And Mike wouldn't suggest doing it in the middle of summer. Anyhow, he thinks he's pretty positive that he can scab it through to the fall, and the generator's a year out anyhow. The estimate that from order to delivery and install is going to be, it's probably going to be this time next year.
Wow.
So that's done for the generator and the chiller. We don't know yet what the time lapse, but Mike would suggest that be a fall or winter project when we don't need. He was fairly confident before we had these last weeks of issues that he could limp it through until the fall. But I would agree that's way more important.
It is the lead time was confirmed to be 12 months. Get that advertised in August, and then summer of 23 is.
Do you recall how much did we allocate?
225.
So this would be an additional $185,000 request
for the total of 410.
Is used an option that we're exploring?
Use what?
Used, like a used generator?
We haven't asked. We certainly can. I don't know if the prices are going to be there, but we can certainly ask the question.
Because here's that same one. It's a 2017 for $61,000. Not necessarily what you're looking for as far as year goes, but not so much the price, just the lead time. If that's something you're concerned about, if a year, if pushing it out a year is more critical than the cost.
It's definitely something we can consider. A lot of the cost we're seeing is getting the new transfer switch, doing the actual work with the concrete. But certainly there might be some savings there. Not going to have a new unit with the same warranty.
Yeah, because that was 160 of the cost. There's still 200,000 outside of that. Okay.
Does everything for PD go through a building? Everything look for your communication, or are we connecting somewhere else? So the power goes out. We have the new public works building as a backup generator. It's your building necessary as much as we have because you've got your connection and your antennas elsewhere.
The internet and the
I don't know how it all
for
works
the
together.
entire city all come to the public public safety building first. So yes, it is a and that's where our EOC is. It is the critical building.
And also, as we found out during the fire, was that HVAC isn't, or the air conditioning isn't tied into the generator.
This would make that though, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
this would be the whole
main
building.
reason for trying to get
Yeah.
a bigger generator.
The generator at the corner of Sumner Buckley and behind Target there, that whole unit's not being used. I'm just thinking that, what's, the lift station there?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's going to be big.
Oh, okay,
But we can
that's
always
smaller.
look at it, but yeah, there's still going to be work to reinstall it, take it out,
Yeah.
and then you have to reinstall it.
So in 5 years, when the current chief then says, I need a new building, can we retrofit this to a new building or buy a whole new generator?
We'll be able to take it with us.
I mean, compared to public works we're doing now, I mean, how much has changed? How much do you think would change? I mean, that's going to happen.
We're going to put
Something like that.
$700,000 into a $500,000 building.
No, I think we're going to have to rebuild that building or
Well,
do
it
something
would have
with
to be
it.
remodeled for sure.
Remodeled,
I
so.
can't see it remodeled.
Okay.
I mean, especially the fire department. It's more than adequate. We update the people. Stay where it's at. It's a great location. City owns. Don't see us. I think it's good to have a public safety area, and if City Hall stays here, definitely part of the retrofit. There were several things I wanted to bring forward in this year's budget that will not address those when address the building. Because we've been approved for the carpet a couple of years ago.
Right.
Let that wait until we decide what's going to happen. And now the fire department's been delayed. And there are other things that, and I know it won't be my decision, but if I was here, I would not recommend. Got good structure and it's a great location and there's adequate property if we need to expand. And I don't even know that we need to expand. I think it just needs to be updated and reconfigured.
I just didn't want us to do any changes and say, okay, the generator needs to be replaced because we're doing this, and this. So,
No, I agree. And I think that they did crown.
We cited sufficient for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ultimately goes on with that.
And it's big enough for not just the current fire department.
so can we hold off? And this is 6 months, see how the right numbers go? Wise,
That's going to push it off a year and a half.
And I don't know what the prices are going to be.
The whole problem too is you don't know when the next fire or
right.
emergency.
Pass an ordinance banning emergency.
Especially
Can we ban
behind 8
fire
years ago
proclamation?
yesterday.
Yeah.
Ban fires.
How much do we have left over in?
4.2 million.
He throws out.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
have
because I just looked at it.
Yeah. You knew that question.
do you have an idea in your head where this is all going to go in the long run, or do you just?
He did. It's us who don't have an idea.
Well, I know.
Yes,
It
well,
just
I
seems
get it.
like my question, part of today's general scope and discussion is, where is this going? Is there things in the future that are really more important than, I realize this is very important, but what about other things that we might pull from it and we all of a sudden that money's gone, where we should have planned it? Like
Yeah,
any
so when the initial
budget.
amount came out, we put together a proposed list of council that,
Mhm.
not only had some general fund items, but also had water, sewer, and storm projects in there. Then at that time, when we brought that forward, it was council's direction. So we have the utility rate study done to see if we want to throw some of that remaining money in water or sewer projects, and attempt to lower rates. But as Sherry has told us all, I mean, you could throw the whole 5 million in a sewer project and it's not going to turn the dial on your sewer rates.
Right.
And this was already on that list and approved by us.
Yes.
It was just an,
Okay.
an increase in cost.
Yeah, initially it was the 225 and then now we're asking for an additional.
Rest of the money or not.
Okay.
Since Sherry isn't here and Patty won't Hell on me. I mentioned this to somebody this morning, maybe it was Dina, that by whatever reasoning, we do qualify for lost revenue fund using ARPA funds. So you can take that 4 point.
Like we didn't lose revenues. We had the best
Well,
2 years of our life here.
According to the feds, we lost revenue.
Okay.
So you can supplant the general fund with ARPA $1,000 holders.
My only issue with that is that get out of it for now.
Right.
Next year, we're still in the exact same problem, right? We have to fix it rather than just.
It'd be one thing if we had a revenue source 2 years from now that we knew
Was coming.
was coming.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Tom, to answer your question, yeah, we've gone through all the capital improvement programs, utility comprehensive plans, came up with a whole list of 10, 12 projects and spitballed it and came up with.
Maybe a little off topic, but when does the light, is that paid off?
2040?
Was that far out?
Probably look it up.
He hopes not.
Tom was just asking about retirement.
Yeah,
The
we're
way
just
the
talking
stock
about it.
market's going. Yeah, I think I pushed
I
my
mean,
knee
used to
out.
washing and drinking wine, you know?
I'm okay moving this forward as is. In consent or whatever, but yeah.
Well, I don't know, that's fine. Something else I could say afterward not to do it, but I think it should go forward. I don't know if I want consent or not. I mean, I'm sure there's some questions about it possibly. I guess you can always pull it off.
Yeah.
I was a few years off. It's 2031.
Oh, good, that makes much more sense.
Yeah. That's way better.
That's
but still not great.
Were we paying ahead on that at all, or were we just paying the minimum? Never just pay the minimums. You always got to pay
Right.
more than that.
Always
You're just
get-
paying the principal or the interest off.
I told Debbie consent.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that sounds good. Consent. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Approval of meeting notes.
He had one correction, I gave it to her.
Open discussion. That was it.
I covered it all. The chiller at the police department, ARPA funds, you know, those
Okay.
two I had concerns about.
Listen.
No,
I'm good.
no, I think I'm good.
All right.
That
Got
was
my
an easy
email.
one.
Are adjourned. Thank you.
I'll invite you to the next emergency.
Mayor said he's gonna be here.
Get that